It's Florence, y'all, home of Turfway Park, Kentucky's winter racetrack. Open from the beginning of December until Keeneland opens in April, Turfway Park has recently become one of the top destinations for horses due to its increasing purses and high value to horse players. The track was just completely remodeled a few years ago, so if you've been here before, it will look entirely different. Unfortunately, I never made it here before the remodel, so this is the only Turfway I know. But let's take a look around Turfway Park. You'll arrive at Turfway in the big parking lot up front. I recommend parking towards the right as that is where the racing entrance is. Kentucky's version of a casino will be on the left side and dominates most of the building. Enter by where it says Racing and Event Center. You can also get a sneak peek of the paddock from up on this platform. Once you head inside, you'll see the entrance to the casino immediately. To get to the racing action, just follow this hallway. It's not really possible to get lost finding where to go for racing, as not much of the facility is used for it. Just follow the hall and you'll get exactly where you need to go. You have the booth selling programs on the left, and behind that is the simulcast room. I actually really like Turfway's simulcast room. Each table is split into individual desks, and there are plenty of TVs that are easy to see no matter where you sit. It's also a nice spot to get away from the busyness of the event center during the races. Among the photos on the wall, you will see photos of Kentucky Derby winners Rich Strike and Animal Kingdom, who both prepped at Turfway. And between them is one of the nicest restrooms you will find at any racetrack. I like how they numbered the urinals. As you get to the end of the hallway, you will see big chandeliers. To the right is a staircase and elevator to take you to the paddock and the track. Directly ahead is the owner's lounge, and to the left is the event center. The event center is the only indoor option at Turfway, and in my opinion, it's really bad. Most of the crowd will end up watching from inside of here as it's usually cold at Turfway, yet the room is designed with the goal of having you watch on TV. The track actually expects most people that attend to watch on TV screens. And maybe I'm in the minority because all 3 times that I've been here, the room has seemed pretty busy and a lot of people seem okay with that. But if you watch this channel, you know I go so I can not watch it on TV and enjoy the fun of live racing. The wagering is along the back wall, as is the main bar and concessions room. The front half of the room is nothing but tables. The half of the front closest to the entrance is reserved for dining tables, and the second half of tables is open to whoever grabs them. But you can't really see anything from these tables unless you're in the very front row. The glass is also a little bit darker, so it's not easy to see out from a distance. And nothing is tiered, so you can't see over other people. It's just one flat-floored room. You're only going to be able to see the races if you're literally right up on the glass. There's a small outdoor smoking section that is slightly better, but there isn't much space here. And when you are up on the glass, the room's reflection greatly detracts from enjoyment of the race. It just baffles me that there is essentially little to no quality race viewing from indoors at a track that only opens in the winter. And although I've never been inside of it, from the outside you can tell the owner's room doesn't look much better. It looks pretty small for however many owners will be showing up for a full card of racing. Now, one of the cool things about the indoor area is out in the hallway. You can get a decent view of the paddock and stay warm while watching the horses prepare. There's a lot of window space and it's usually not busy out here, so it gives you a chance to enjoy something from indoors before heading out in the cold to see the race. Going out the doors across from the event center will lead you to the track. You come out on the big staircase, and a lot of people stand here to watch what's going on in the paddock. Or you can walk a little closer. Turfway does have a great paddock. I like the design of the stall building itself. The walking ring is large, so there's plenty of room to find space to watch. And the section in the middle where the owners stand has nothing inside of it that would block your view, and most races the amount of people there are small enough to hang out at the stall, so you don't have anything blocking your view as they're saddled. The paddock is my favorite thing Turfway has to offer. The horses enter and exit the paddock from the runway on its left side or the far right end of the apron. This end of the apron is also the best spot to watch the post parade as they go down a bit past the winner's circle and then loop back to the side. Speaking of the winner's circle, it splits the middle of the apron, front and center with a lot of viewing space for spectators to be able to cheer on the winner. And you also have quite a few jockeys that will walk through this path in order to get back over to the paddock after the race. So if you're somebody who likes talking to the jockeys, you can usually be able to speak to them and get pictures on their way back after the last race. Then on the left side of the apron is where most people will gather to watch the races. There's a slight slant downward once you pass the benches, but then you're right up on the fence and right at the finish line. Turfway has a synthetic racetrack, which is why it is able to be open all winter. And for the most part, you can see pretty much everything on the racetrack. There's nothing in the infield that's really blocking your view, other than the quick little bit when they're behind the video screen. So Turfway actually is one of the easiest tracks to see the entirety of the race, except for when the race is 1 mile in distance. For whatever reason, Turfway is the only track I've been to that does not drive the starting gate far away after the race is over. They just immediately pull it off to the side and let it sit in the middle of the racetrack. Now, for most distances, this wouldn't be a problem, but for the 1 mile distance, it means that the gate is literally right in the view. You can't see anything the entirety of the stretch if you're standing right up along the rail.
Here they come!
Now, if you stand a little bit further back, kind of back by where the benches are, you get a better view of them coming down the stretch. But you have that high fence that's kind of blocking your view a little bit further down, then they disappear behind the gate for a little bit, and then they're finally in view right as they're getting to the finish.
There's Great Rich GM trying to muster into the scene from between runners. McCall with an all that is inside trip, and it's Carl with a gnarl. He's the winner from Great Rich GM.
This just seems like something that could easily be fixed if they just kept driving the starting gate further up the stretch like other racetracks do. But for whatever reason, every time they run a 1 mile race, this is the way it is. And on the day that I filmed this track profile, 7 of the 9 races were 1 mile. So this was a constant problem every single race. For comparison, here was a sprint race where they started over on the backstretch, so the gate was nowhere to be found. And then here's a 1 1/16 race where just because they were further up the stretch, even though they did the same thing, it still made it a slightly better view.
Come on, here they go. 9's still in second. Oh, 9's in third. 9's falling back. No. 9's in fourth. No, yes. No, wait, no. 7-1, 7-1.
And it's a real shame that this really takes away from the experience. It's just one of those things that just irritates me every time that I go. Because otherwise, Turfway is actually one of the best racetracks for your ability to see the horses up close. You can get right up on the fence as they're starting to walk in for the race. As we mentioned with the paddock, you can be right up next to them. There's plenty of space to view the horses there, so the paddock's one of the better ones in the country. You can be right up on the walkway as they're exiting with the jockeys and being passed off to the lead ponies. You can be right up next to them at the post parade. For those 1 mile races, you can get right up by where they're warming up and see them as they're walking into the gate. You have a great view of the start of the race when it does start on the front side. And you can be right up next to the horses as they return from the race. So it really just sucks that that 1 mile starting point really just kind of ruins it, but especially on a day where almost all the races were that distance, you can't help but walk away feeling a little disappointed, especially when there's no quality upper viewing space where you can see up over the starting gate. But that pretty much brings us to the end of our trip around Turfway Park. It's definitely not one of my favorite racetracks for watching a race, but to give Turfway credit, they are starting to make some improvements. They actually just recently were called out at a KTDF committee meeting about making improvements to the fan experience at the racetrack, to which they said they are listening to all the complaints. And between last year and this year, I have already seen some of those changes. The major one for me last year that really made me not like the racetrack was the front half of the apron was entirely grass, and with it being the winter time, it was all mud, so you just had to truck through the mud in order to get up towards the rail. That was all done away with and has been paved over, so that made this experience so much nicer than the one that I had last year. Inside of the event center, the tables did get switched out in the public seating area into circular tables that left the front of the room open for viewing, versus last year you had these long tables that went right up onto the glass. So it actually was easier to get a spot on the glass this year. There's also this big open grass area over here that continues up the stretch that I really wish they would do something with. Even if they just put seating where that smoking area was, this area just leaves a lot of potential for improvement. It's just weird to think that a track that just remodeled would make these kind of decisions, but at least they are starting to make these gradual improvements, and at least somebody is holding them accountable to make sure that they're doing so. But that's Turfway Park. Let me know what you think of it in the comments below. Are the issues that I have with it something that you wouldn't care about, or is it something that would make your experience not that fun? Were you at the old Turfway Park? Have you been to the new Turfway Park? Let me know down below. But thank you all so much for watching and visiting Turfway Park with me. I hope you enjoyed this track profile, and I'll see you at the races.
Iron Man!